it's gonna be mind-boggling. It's going to be crazy. And when you, like just like when with this fear and greed index and emotions get real low, right? You get real down. Well, extreme greed is absolutely a real thing, and we haven't experienced very much of that this year. And I don't know, or in the last 2 years, and I don't know if we're going to get a lot of practice on how to manage that extreme greed emotion that we get. And so that's why I have everything preset on what price levels I'm looking for. Hey, what's going on, everybody? This is the Blockchain Backer bringing you the latest cryptocurrency news and analysis. And today we've got extreme fear in the crypto fear and greed index. And I'm sure many of you have seen this fear and greed index before, but if you haven't, here it is. This is actually nothing new. We have seen this in the United States stock market before. Here we go. They've got their own fear and greed index. And as you can see, we are currently in extreme fear over here in the crypto market, well, the stock market's over here in greed, and last month they were in extreme greed, and we have been in extreme fear. Now, I know how this thing feels because I remember what it was like when Bitcoin was down there near that $3,000 price point. There's this feeling of gut wrenching in you, and I'm not even sure if we really actually have that right now. But I do remember what it feels like to be completely gut wrenching and you're sitting there and you're thinking to yourself, what have I done? Like, oh, I've lost so much. I've lost 50% of my money in a matter of a month or two. And there's just the last thing you want to do at that point is put more money in, right? You're like, I'm just going to lose another 50% of my fresh money that I'm going to put in there. And that the mentality is that you just don't want to lose anymore. And from my experience, I have learned that during those moments of where it feels so wrong to do it, it's actually the right thing to do. And when the pain is so incredibly brutal, that's when you should actually be putting your money in. And that's what I plan on doing. And right now I'm kind of confused on whether or not we actually are in that gut-wrenching moment right now. Like it's a little confusing because yeah, the Fibonacci's tell us that we need to go lower on XRP to like 15 and a half cents, but at the same time, we've got so many people who are expecting that. And if you watch my last video, I talk about that. You know, when you have an overwhelming amount of people who expect the same thing, it usually will do the opposite. However, those Fibonacci's do draw it out like that. So I don't know. It's quite confusing on is it actually going to get worse? Can we get this fear and greed index down to like an 8? Like to like extreme fear. I don't know, but I have found that when the moment in time of when it just hurts so bad, that is the time when you should be buying. And I know part of you, like just emotionally inside of you, it's like a fight or flight or a self-defense mechanism where you're just like you're protecting yourself, right? You're like, no, this is bad. This is really bad, but the price could fire up 50% and you emotionally feel okay making that buy. But if the price tanks 50%, you emotionally become scared of making the buy. And I'm not blaming for anybody for that. I know exactly how that feels. And, maybe I should be buying more right now at 22 cents, 21 cents. But, I've kind of already gotten all that I feel comfortable getting with at this price. And I'm waiting for that kind of lower price to come in. But hey, let's take a look at this fear and greed index. Look, we used to be back in December down in that low teens, and we did dip down to a 9 on the fear and greed for the cryptocurrency market, and then it topped out in extreme greed on June 26th. We were in lots of greed, but once we finally shot to extreme greed, what happened with Bitcoin? That was the top. June 26th, June 27th. So we do kind of see a correlation between extreme fear and extreme greed in the pricing. And right now we're in extreme fear. So can it go lower? Totally, totally it can. It can get gut wrenching. but that's usually a good sign of that we're almost there. It's better to be a buyer during extreme fear than it is to be a buyer during greed or, moderate or extreme greed. So, okay, that's all I'm going to cover for this for the fear and greed index, but I thought it was really interesting that we are back in that extreme fear. One thing that I want to do is I want to clean up my side of the street. And what I mean by that is I want to kind of correct a couple of mistakes that I've made along the way with this YouTube channel. And one of those things is that I have not addressed the ladies of the channel, and I've always addressed the guys. And I do know that there are ladies who watch the show, and I'm always calling everybody guys, or I'm saying, hey, this bear market's been so brutal, and I know that I don't really hype very much, but I do look forward to the day where we can all be a bunch of moon boys. But I don't say moon ladies. But hey, I wanted to take a moment to acknowledge the ladies that do watch my channel, and I am appreciative of that. So thank you, ladies. And also, I want to address a video from 2 videos ago where I talked about Vechain. Now, I've talked about this in that video in particular that I have nothing personal against Vechain. I have nothing personal against any other cryptocurrency. I know that I primarily talk about XRP, and I don't have any tribalism versus any of the other cryptos. Hey, I do have my fingers in lots of different cryptos. XRP is my biggest one by far. If you took XRP and you took like my number two, three, and four, XRP is bigger than two, three, and four all combined. XRP is my biggest one. But I do have my fingers in other stuff, and I don't play tribalism because I don't really understand all of it. And I think that can relate to a lot of the viewers that do you really have the full understanding of how smart contracts work or how different blockchains work or different projects are going to work? It's all real kind of confusing for a lot of that stuff, but XRP makes the most sense to me. But let me take a step back. I want to address what I said about VeChain. I was showing different charts and I was showing how VeChain back in August of 2018 did like a 99.5% crash in one day. And that was inaccurate because there was a token swap on that day, a 1 for 100 token swap. And so the price would have gone down by 99%. However, the price actually went down significantly further, and even if it was accurate, if you had $100 in VeChain that day, the day before the token swap, after the token swap, you still would have had $60. You still would have instantly lost 40% of your money at that time. And I it still kind of plays into the whole thing, hey, higher risk, higher returns, but I do need to like apologize. I researched that. I could not find that token swap until somebody called it a token swap in the comments of that video. I found it, fixed it, and I do apologize to those VeChain people. I have nothing against VeChain, and I just don't know much about it, and it's as simple as that. But back to XRP. So today I am going to be going to the bank because I have to send a payment to a company that I work with in California, and I have to send them over $6,000 today. Now, when they send me my invoice, I have several different payment options, and if I want to pay by a credit card, I have to pay a 2.5% credit card processing fee. And it's 2.75%, and that comes out to about $170 for me to pay with a credit card and pay that $6,000 just to California. We're still within the United States. So the other payment option that I have is, of course, I can send them a wire transfer, which will take a couple of days and cost me. My bank will charge me $45, and then their bank will charge them. I don't know what it'll charge them. And then lastly, the last option I have, which is the option I'm going to do, is in order to avoid any of the fees, we need to both have our money with the same bank. And what I have to do is I've got to go withdraw the money from my bank account and then deposit it into their bank account. There is no transactional evidence that the money came from my account and went into their account. All I have is I have proof that I have withdrawn this amount of money from my account and that I've deposited the same amount of money into their account. But there is no evidence that the money that was deposited in their account came from my account. If you kind of follow me, like on paper, it doesn't say, "Hey, account A sent account B X amount of dollars. It said the only transactional records there are is that, hey, bank account A withdrew X amount of dollars, and also bank account B had a deposit of X amount of dollars. There's no evidence that these two accounts ever worked with each other. If you kind of follow me, and that's the way we do banking these days, and that's for over 6 grand. And I so the reason why XRP is like the duh, that's the duh moment is like, why are we doing business like this still? It's insane. Like I have to pay 2.75% to do a credit card transaction, or I have to like do this weird like deposit method in order to not have to pay any fees on giving them their money. It's crazy. And I've had to do it this way many times where I just take the money out of my account and then I deposit it into their account. It's ludicrous. But anywho, that is why I'm so bullish on XRP and why it's the top one that I own is yes, I have my hands on the smart contracts and the other stuff like that, but the use case and the duh moment is just it all comes down to XRP makes the most logical sense to me. And when we do have another bull run, I like to think of what are the dummies going to put their money in, right? So like when if there's some type of cryptocurrency bull run and grandma wants to research cryptocurrency, do you think grandma's going to have the ability to completely comprehend and understand smart contracts? I don't think so. I really don't. I mean, I'm a pretty smart guy. I still really don't understand it all. But I think grandma can totally understand that XRP can send money internationally. XRP is accepted and respected by the government. It's fast and it's cheap. And I think that's all you need for grandma to really understand it, right? It's a new way for business to be done throughout the world, and I think they can easily grasp that, and that's why XRP is the one that I hold the most of. So let's take a look at the charts. I know most people watch my channel just to see the charts, but I kind of just wanted to talk about some stuff today. Now, I will be putting out a video later today that really is more focused on the charts because I know a lot of people like that. And honestly, I really like talking about it. It's a lot of fun for me to dig into charts and just do the analyzing part of it. I'm really into mathematics, and this is, right up my alley. So with this video, I'm just going to kind of give you this right here and just show you guys how fast XRP bull runs are. And your patience with this cryptocurrency is the one it just gets tested, right? I mean, when we look at how long bull versus bear is, the bear is significantly longer, but the bull moves happen so dramatically and so fast. So in this crypto, you have to be incredibly patient. And I just want to remind you that when the time comes, if you haven't watched my videos on exit strategy, that's the reason why I do that. I have to have an exit strategy because when this thing takes off, it's gonna be mind-boggling. It's going to be crazy. And when you, like just like when with this fear and greed index and emotions get real low, right? You get real down. Well, extreme greed is absolutely a real thing, and we haven't experienced very much of that this year. And I don't know, or in the last 2 years, and I don't know if we're going to get a lot of practice on how to manage that extreme greed emotion that we get. And so that's why I have everything preset on what price levels I'm looking for. So that way, when I hit them, you know, I make my sell, and if it keeps going higher than that, hey, it keeps going higher than that. I had my plan and I followed it. So I really advise all of you to kind of get your stuff in order, have your strategy, because when this thing takes off, there's not going to be much time to really think about it. You just kind of have to have already thought about it ahead of time. So I'm going to get working on another video. It takes a few hours to put this stuff together and try to get something out for you in the next few hours. But Thank you guys so much for watching. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel. As always, this is not investment advice. I am not a financial advisor, but if you ever need a pick me up or a little bit of reassurance, just remember that the blockchain backers got your back. Have a good one.